Hey y'all, it's your girl Cori. I'm coming at you today because this is on some straight weirdo. This my mind been wondering about some things, and it's crazy because really my 8-year-old son really got it on my head, right? So the other day I was on the phone. I was talking to my brother, Chemist. Shout out to Chemist. And we were just talking like our deep conversations like we have on this platform, but ours get like usually really deep. We don't get as deep on here, but now this is some stuff you're gonna have to probably carry with a open mind, because what I'm about to talk about is kind of abnormal. Some people might think I'm crazy, whatever, but it's been on my mind. So we were talking about different stories in the Bible, right? And we were talking about like reality, like is it real? Is it a video game? Then we just start talking about like all types of stuff. We started talking about the Matrix, the movie, like a whole bunch of stuff, right? So my son, who I really don't talk to about none of this stuff, just comes to me and he starts talking about the Tower of Babylon. And I'm just like, how you know that? Because I've never even talked to you about this. So like I'm listening or whatever. And like my son is freakishly smart. Like he's very smart. He's a Sagittarius. Shout out to the Sagittarius. I don't know what it is about y'all, but y'all are usually really smart. So he's just telling me all this stuff, and it's like listening to a mini version of me, but he actually like is saying stuff I've never even really talked about. So it's kind of like, what? So we get to talking, and he's asking me questions like, how does this happen? And so my brother's answering questions for him, and I'm pretty much like, I can talk. But, and then for anyone that cares, my Mercury is in Aries, so I'm quick on my feet. But this got me stumped because it's coming out of a source that I'm expecting. So anyway, we're talking or whatever. And then my brother, he's like a scholar in Bibles. Like all the books of the Bible, New Testament, Old Testament, he knows them inside and out. So we're talking, and we start talking about like creation and like is this world real? And we get on the subject about like the CIA documents and how they came out with documents saying that we live in basically a simulation. And then we start talking about like how we're seeing what they call quote unquote angel numbers and things like that. And then it makes me think about the movie The Matrix, and the latest movie The Matrix, where basically Neo, and then like I can't remember if it's the second, third one. One of them, Neo is like asleep and he gets captured by the machines, and like they take his eyes and all type of crazy stuff. So in the new Matrix, spoiler alert for y'all that haven't seen it, I'm about to go in and talk about it. Anyways, in the new Matrix, Neo is working, but at this facility. And he just feels like they have him thinking that he's crazy and he has to take anxiety medicine, yada, yada, yada. The Neo that he sees is not the same Neo that everyone else sees. Trinity is there too, and Trinity is no longer the Trinity, like, you know, badass kicking butt Trinity. She's a mother with kids, and her and Neo don't even know each other, but the way she looks to her is not the way that everyone else perceive her either. They don't remember who they are, so they're basically kind of like have this amnesia, and they're in a different like time and just a whole bunch of stuff until they come across each other, and there's just like this strong pull or whatever, and they like the fighting and all that they had, forgot that they even were capable of those things until they start to remember. And at the end they fight, but it's a fight that they can't win. And basically, like, the architect, I don't remember who he is in the movie, but I'm gonna say the architect. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, just comment and tell me who it was. He basically works out a deal with them. So basically, they're like in this illusion, but in this illusion, they're running shit, but they're stuck in this illusion. And this reminds me of what, like, where we're at right now. So we've been told that we live in a simulation. And it's like, we're like, okay. I don't know, like, if the world got dumbed down or what, because that is not normal. Like, the CIA, and these are documents that they released to us from like early 2000, like, we're in 2022. What else have y'all found out? But we're getting like early 2000, like 2002. Like, what are we gonna do with that? What else? Come on, bring something else. But we were told we live in a simulation. So it made me think back to like seeing the 111, 222, 333, 1234, 1011, 1133, like seeing these numbers. And I was talking to my brother, like, I don't remember seeing numbers when I was young. And he was like, maybe you just weren't paying attention. I'm like, you know, maybe. But I also don't remember the moon and the freaking sun out at the same time. So, and it made me start thinking deeper, like, if we're in a simulation, how long have we been in a simulation? Because the sky, I remember, don't look anything like what we see. And then we started talking about like time. And I've done a lot of research on time, and I'm just gonna say, like, you know, things short because I don't want this video to be that long. But basically, there was a time when there was no time on Earth, right? And they created a time. And then you have to think, they continuously change, and by they, I'm talking about whoever governs this stuff that made the rules. Put two and two together. So there was no time to be in time. And then time got changed again. We got AD, we got BC. And then we have, right now, we have places that aren't on the same time. So even just in America, like, it's the past according to our time, it's the past in California, and it's the future right now in Florida, in America. And right now, to me, because I'm in Texas, then Texas would be the present. But I could be the future to California, and Florida could be the very future for California as well. And then to Florida, I could be the past. Okay, you get what I'm saying? But in Ethiopia, they're like in what, 2013, 2014, like their year is completely different from us. So it makes like, what exactly is time, and why isn't everyone on the same page? It's just, there was actually a time where there wasn't time. Okay, that's basically what I'm saying. So then it gets me to thinking, and it's like whenever you start to think outside the box, and as far as time and restrictions, then you realize, could possibly things not have happened that we said happened. I was what is that man's name? Joey, I can't think of his name, but he has the book on supernatural. Well, he has a part of the book where he's talking about how they had conducted a study, and not him himself, but there was a clinical study that was being done. And in this clinical study, there were people in like the present. We could just say the present right now, right? And these people that were in the present were praying for people in the past. Now, this is a blind eye study. These people had no idea who they were praying for. They were just told to pray, right, for one half of a group. The other half were not to pray for them, right? So the group that went into the clinical trial, half of them got prayed for, the other half didn't. And what happened was these people that are in the past, the half that got prayers, wind up because they were sick. They were like sick with some type of flu that back in that day wasn't like, they were still doing stuff like for COVID. You could say, we'll just say for something similar to COVID. It may not have been COVID, but it was something along the lines where they didn't really have that much stuff to prevent it. So they were doing clinical trials and trying to get medicine to fix it, right? So the half that got prayed for wind up leaving the hospital with like minor coughs and things of that nature. And then the other half that didn't get prayers were hospitalized and some died. And the people that prayed for them were people in the future. I don't think y'all hear me. The people that prayed for these people that were in these clinical trials were people that were in the future. This was like, they were like in 1920. The people that prayed for them were like in 2006 and things of that nature. And it makes you wonder, like, how? Unless you let your mind realize that there's no such thing as time. That's like me in right now in this moment, taking a moment that when I was young, remembering a moment when I was young, and I may have fell off the bike or something crazy, and me praying that I heal quickly. And my future self realizing that moment I actually healed, like I got a little scrape, but it was gone away in a couple of days. Like this is wild. So I was sitting and I was thinking, because the way my mind, I go a million miles per hour. I started thinking about something. And there's a story, and I've mentioned it before because it lives rent free in my head. There's a story that you can even Google on YouTube, and it's talking about the egg, right? And that the egg, basically, this man gets into like a car wreck or whatever, and he's like, he dies and he goes to like the in-between of life and death, where you're going to pick your next life and things of that nature, right? So he's like, no, I can't die. I have a wife. I have kids. I have to look after, but yada, yada, yada. And so God, or the being that comes to meet him, is like, your wife is going to remarry in like a year or two. Your kids are going to be fine. They're going to forget you. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I need him, whatever. So the being shows him what happens with his wife and his kids. And he's just like, well, damn. So he's ready to, move on. But sorry, I'm getting a phone call, Mike. So he starts asking him about like other people and things in the world. And the being tells him basically that he's everyone that has ever lived and everyone that will ever live. Basically saying that we are one, and that whenever he has lived every life, that he'll become like him. And who is he? He is a God. So I didn't want this to be that deep, but we about to get deep. So that story, for some reason, has always like been like, whoa, that's crazy. So what it's basically saying that Earth, or he's like a universe or whatever, and these universes are gods. And when he's like, Earth is a baby, and whenever he's fully ready to develop, then he'll be born into the realm of the gods. That nothing that he's experiencing is his reality. It's just to get him prepared to be a god. He's a fetus. He's a baby. Remember that, right? So me and my brother, he was telling me about, there's a book of the Bible called John's Letters, and the Gnostic texts have something similar to these letters, right? So there is a woman. Remember I was talking to Matrix earlier? Okay, remember that. So there's a woman, her name, there's a woman god. Her name is Sophia. Mind you, the person that wrote, or supposedly wrote, the real Matrix that sued Warner Brothers, or I don't know if I can say the company, but the studio that made the Matrix, her name is supposed to be Sophia, right? That's her name. So Sophia in the Gnostic text is a god. And Sophia wanted to have a baby. But she didn't want to have a baby with her partner. She just wanted to have a baby because they were like put together with other beings to create life. So Sophia didn't do the process of having a baby like other gods. She created the baby by herself. But when she created this baby, it scared her. And it was more of a disappointment because it didn't look like any of them. And she wanted to basically get rid of this baby. So she took this baby to the depths of nothingness, and where nothing lived, and left it there. And so when this baby came to be, it thought that it was the only thing that exists. But Sophia looked from far away and was able to tell the baby like what to do. Basically telling it to go even further into the deep, because there is nothingness, but it had waters, to go deep into the waters, right? And this being that she created looked like, I think it says a snake with a lion's head. So, and which got me thinking too, because when you think of a snake with a lion's head, it made me think of what sperm looked like for some reason. So I was just like, so this thing came to be, and it thought that it was everything that ever lived until it found out it wasn't. And it became rebellious because it was the only of the gods that was created differently and in the wrong way. And that made me think of pretty much every religion that we've ever heard, where, like, if you think about the story of Jesus, born unto a virgin, and then you think about the story of Horus in Egyptian, and like just that whole story, like it's an unnatural birth. Especially the story of Horus, like, because he was created with magic, you know. So it made me think of these things. Hold on, my dogs are here. Get them. Get them. Okay. Get him before he makes my camera fall. Sorry, my dog's in here.
Come here. Come on, do this. Come on.
Get him. Okay.
I gotta get this one.
Okay. Okay, go. Okay, so anyway, sorry about the disturbance, bad dogs. So, it made me think of this. And supposedly the God of this world is supposed to be evil. So, Sophia, I'm skipping a part. So this God created humans. And when he created humans, he created them to worship him. And what happened was Sophia went to the Garden of Eden and told them to eat from the tree of knowledge, and that when they ate from the tree of knowledge, that they would be a god like her and the others. So then these humans eat from the tree of knowledge, and she gives them a spark, which I'm thinking is a soul. And the God of this world doesn't like that, which is her offspring. And it doesn't like that. So this God puts the humans to sleep, in a sleep state, so they could never become God like them, like everyone else. And he could stay ruler over the humans. Because when they got the spark in them, that was something that connected them to the Almighty God. Because there's levels to it, and there's one that sits on its throne high above all, the Almighty Creator. And the Elohim follows his rules, but the repent came when Sophia went and disobeyed the Almighty and had to repent. See, Sophia is a benevolent being, or an angel, or whatever you want to call it. So they paint the picture that the God of the Bible, or of this world, because this world was created by that God that was left in by himself. He created a material world because he thought he was the only one, until he found out he was not. But this is where my mind gets to wondering, because Sophia basically left this God on his own, hoping to have some sort of abortion, but there was no death at that time. So basically, that was the way she could get rid of it, or have an abortion, right? In the waters. And when I think about this, I was just like, okay, so if you've ever seen an embryo, or the fetus developing in the womb, it looks like a fucking, or excuse me, it looks like some type of, I don't know, snake, a sperm. Just think about this, it looks kind of, and if they had never seen anything like that before, that would make sense. And then in the story of the egg, or even with the story with Sophia saying that these beings could be like them. And when I think about the law of oneness, if the God of this world created all the beings to worship him, those beings would be a part of him. And it makes me think of the law of oneness, where it's like we are all one, and it's the universe experiencing itself. If that is true, the universe, what if the universe is this God of this world? And all of us is it experiencing itself. And then I think about the great floods. What if that is amniotic fluid? And whenever there's a flood, that's when another God is being birthed into the world. But it feels like drowning because it's nothing that the fetus or the God of this world has ever experienced. And what if we're getting close to be born? I know that was a little much. So for my weirdos, if you listen to it all the way, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to make a part 2 to this because I'm already at 25 minutes and I thought this was only going to be 5 minutes. But I will have it in a part 2. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a good day.